on this call 301.
It's showing now.
Okay. It's showing now. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Let me get you guys back up. Oh, okay. And hey, Erica. All right. So now that we're officially up, hey, Gloria. I don't think I greeted you. All right. And we're going to let
Keisha.
Miss Steph. Miss Steph. She's going to come in, and you guys can take a second to let people know to come on. And they are probably already can see us, but just in case. All right. All right. So how's everybody been? Everybody's doing well. I know I asked the ones that came on a couple of minutes early that already, but as far as Erica and Gloria, you guys doing well?
Doing great. Thank you for
great.
And you look to be doing very well. As beautiful as always.
Thank you, Sister Erica. I do enjoy and welcome all compliments. Okay.
Thank you for
all right. All right.
As beautiful.
Okay. And we're going to go ahead and get started. We're not going to try to keep you guys too long tonight. And if you have, to leave, it's understandable. We have some serious reviewing to do tonight. Okay. So for starters, I'm, for those who are watching and don't know, I am Takesha, and I am the proud proprietor of Blueprint to Events. And the reason why we're here is because due to the current global situation, with my company, I do events, full service. We do all events, weddings, social events, corporate and wedding, primarily weddings though. And so with that not being an option now, we decided to do a little fun approach with these virtual events. And so I teamed up with Stephanie to go over her, Steph, because we have two official Stephanies here tonight. So I need to say Mimi and Steph. Let me self-check myself right now. And so we decided to have a little fun, and I think Steph's book is remarkable. So I thought it'd be fun for all of us to get together and talk about it. And to give a soft reintroduction of Steph Williams is the author of our amazing, look, now I say our, not hers, right? Amazing book, Joy Happened. All right. And, for those of you who don't know Steph, she wears a lot of hats. As I said in the first segment, she's a mom. Let me make sure I say that this time. She is an author, obviously. She also works for one of the most prominent law firms in the DMV area. She is a pageant director for United National Miss. Did I say that correctly, Steph?
USA National Miss.
USA National Miss Pageantry. So she's a director of there. And just to give you a little sum up of Steph, if you want to send her a message or ask her any questions, if you are an author just starting out or just wanted to know about her full body of work, she's currently working on a second book called Love Calls. I'm so excited about that one too. The little bit of information I do know about it. You can reach her. Her website is www.authorstefwilliams.net. Is that right?
www.stefwilliams.net.
Stefwilliams.net. The Facebook is author Steph Williams. All right, so you can reach her there. And if you want to reach me, we are at www.blueprint2events. That's blue without the letter E. And that's the introduction for tonight. And I can move on to our cool panel that we have here. So I'm just going to call your name. You can just wave your hand. Just want to acknowledge you guys. I feel like we have a deep history. We've talked about, this is our third night together talking about Joy Happened. I feel like we're going on this this little literary virtual journey together with this book. So we have Miss Pat here. Say hi, Miss Pat.
Hello, everyone. Can't wait to get started with this.
Pat is all the way from Florida, sunny Florida. She's joining us from Florida. And then we have Nene here from Houston.
Hey.
Got all the states here represented. All right. We got Wanda here from the DMV area.
Hi, everyone.
All right. Jay, another DMVer.
That's me.
All right. Erica,
We're
Florida, right? Just
Mhm.
want to make sure. You coming to us from the FLA? She's gonna get her sound on, bless her heart. And then we have Gloria from the ATL.
Hey, ATL.
And then Miss Barbara here, Miss Crump. Steph called her last time, another DMVer. So we just thank you for joining us. And then Steph, let me get her to wait. There she is. There she is.
Hey, sister girl.
Hey,
All right. And so we are going to get started. I know some folks had reached out to me after our last segment saying, and also just recently this week and today, about they wanted to join the conversation, but they haven't gotten the book and they hadn't technically read. So I'm going to, for the next 2 to 3 minutes, hopefully no more than 3, just give a rundown of the chapters that we are going to be discussing tonight. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so starting with chapter 12, it's called Till Della Do Us Part. Steph and these titles. I tell you, I call this the 2-page packer. So this chapter, Della and Preston were happily married 3 out of the 5 years. And so Della thought she was not fulfilling herself with her marriage to Preston. She didn't feel like she was living her best life. There was some careers, aspirations that she wanted to do, and for whatever reason, she felt like she could not do them, or they were being stagnant by being with Preston. So she actually sits up one morning without warning and tells Preston that she was leaving him. And of course, like any other person that's investing in marriage, he was devastated. And I like the way Stephanie notated on page 124, after the hurt kicked in, its close cousin anger soon follow. I had to put that in there. I like that. So Preston then tells Della in so many words that his heart did not have a revolving door. And so, and I do want to make note, they were married for 5 years, but they will only get together for 3. And one of the things I want to kind of plug in there for you guys to think about before I move on is on page 24, Steph notated, who walks out on a financially stable marriage? Just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Mm-hmm. Moving on to chapter 13, this chapter is called Reunited and It Feels So Good. I call this 3 pages of no, she didn't. Because that's what I felt when I read it.
No, she
So
didn't.
real quick, this chapter begins with Joy getting passionately swept away by Zeke. And Joy realized that their lovemaking, after their lovemaking session, she had kind of like opened Pandora's box. She realized there was a spark or connection that she still possessed for Zeke. So soon after their passionate encounter, Joy attempts to make a grand exit, leaving Zeke. But like Joy, Zeke realized at that moment, he still possessed some deep feelings for her too. So then he gets up before Joy leaves and tells her that he was still in love with her and wanted to continue to love her if she would allow him to. Joy was already confused. And so, after she was experiencing her feelings during and after their lovemaking, now she was really freaked out by Zeke's confession. So it turned out, maybe, I don't know if this is what Steph had in mind, but it looked like it went in as a booty call and it ended up being oh my goodness. So chapter 14, time does not heal all wounds. And this is my favorite chapter because we see the S&F sisters kind of come back with this one. So Joy is still confused by this revelation with Zeke. and it scared her into what the millennials call ghosting. She kind of ghosted him for a while, meaning she didn't return any of his phone calls, any source of communication, she didn't respond. And she realized that deep down, she really wanted Zeke. However, she hadn't forgot about his current woman or current situation and her current complicated situation with Preston. The sisters in this chapter, get together, and this time it's at Carmen's house. And as they wait for the remaining friends to join them, Joy takes the opportunity to catch Carmen up on the latest complicated situation she has going on with Preston and Zeke. With that conversation, we find out that Preston has reached out to Joy on several occasions, leaving voicemail messages to Joy explaining that there was no possible chance for him and Della. He wanted to be, just to be made very clear that he wanted Joy and not Della. Carmen confesses to Joy in this conversation that Bruce, her husband, Bruce, has not always had a squeaky clean record. I don't know if you remember in our first session where we talked about how there was that one encounter where she goes on to explain to Joy what that one encounter is. And basically, in a nutshell, without giving out too many details, she had just overheard Bruce having an inappropriate conversation with another woman. And surprisingly, she did not let him know that she overheard it. She kind of had a little bit more, how can I say, a more patient, calculated way of catching him in the act. And so Carmen then, goes on to explain that she had to have counseling to kind of remove that major block and rebuild her marriage. And she shares that with Joy kind of to uplift her. And she even shares this inspirational book called Seeing Your Way Clear by Toya L. Evans. We also find out that Tyra and Clyburn are still doing well and they're still kicking it. Chapter 15 goes into love and forgiveness. And so in this particular chapter, it opens with Zeke continuously trying to convince Joy to give their relationship another try. He is really being persistent. He then goes on to, he even refers to them as soulmates. And like any woman that's trying to decide if they want to continue a relationship, if it's worth it or not, she, desperately wants to believe him and believe in him. They were together for a while as well. And then in chapter 15, I don't want to give it all away, but if we have time, I want to come back to it. There's a funny church debacle that I thought that was genius for Step to add in there. It starts on page 138, but we'll come back to that later if we have time. So Preston, let's see here. I stopped, that was chapter 15. So going into chapter 16 called Confessions, Preston had finally arranged to meet with Tyra for lunch. He wanted to meet with Tyra for lunch to talk about, his current situation that he was having with issues with Joy. He expresses how he was heartbroken, but he was frustrated that Joy is not making it any easier for him to work his way back into her, in her heart. And all that kind of starts on page 140. He even goes on to say he can't do it anymore. He gets kind of frustrated, with if he goes on to tell Tyra, if she's not willing to hear him out, he decided, maybe he should give Della another try. Now, mind you, he's talking to Tyra. He's not Joy. You talking to somebody's girlfriend, okay? So Tyra, she felt empathy for Preston, but she reminds Preston that what Della did was unforgivable and inexcusable, and she was confused as to why Preston felt he owed her when Della left him. Preston explains that considering Joy doesn't quote unquote want him, he didn't see what difference that it made if he went back to Della or not. And we just kind of, you feel bad for brother Preston, for all you Team Preston, Wanda. So Tyra, she feels for him, as I said earlier, and she promised that she would talk to Joy to see if they could at least have, she even believed that Preston really loved Joy, but he just kind of handled it. The way he went about it was just all wrong. His representation was just, deadly. And so in chapter 17, which is called Heart Blocking, Tyra had been trying for weeks to get Joy to talk to Preston. And, you know, if nothing else, just to have closure. Joy didn't want to be any part of that conversation. And like any good friend, Tyra just wanted Joy to be sure that if she was over Preston before she started thinking about moving forward with Zeke, because that was on Joy's mind. That was part of her plan at this moment in this chapter. And after Joy and Tyra's conversation, Joy stumbles across a picture of her and Preston at a dinner party. And, you know, these rush of emotions that are unexpected come to her. And it kind of gives her a second thought. And finally, what we're going to talk about tonight is chapter 18. It's called If Only a Moment. And in this chapter, Preston, you know, conveniently has a business meeting scheduled in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He had not been to D.C. since the whole situation with Joy went down over Christmas. And Miss Della was not happy that Preston was going to be on Joy's stomping ground. She did not feel confident about that at all, and she shouldn't. And she wanted to go. She wanted to join them, like, you know, and Preston kindly shut that situation down. But Della made sure that he agreed to not contact Joy and not stay overnight. You go there for business and you bring your butt back. Preston lands to DC and heads straight to Joy's. Do not pass go and do not collect $200. And he heads straight over to Joy's spa. Preston had prearranged with her assistant Terry, who is Joy's assistant, to stage kind of a pop-up visit at the spa. Terry, even though she's professional and she wants, but you know, she's rooting for Joy to kind of, you know, get her heart in order. So she's gonna take a chance on crossing that line. So just before they were getting ready to connect to meet at the spa, Terry spills the beans to Joy in the 9th hour and let her know, Preston out there, girl, he waiting on you. And, you know, me and Joy shared the same thing. She was not pleased by this, you know, spontaneous act. And she, you know, like any diva, she pulled herself together and bravely faced him. And after seeing each other at that moment, they both realized they had not, you know, feelings were still there that needed to be addressed. Let me just say that. And they both were very much still in love with each other. Preston, you know, and of course, Joy asked the $1 million question, why are you here? Preston went on to explain that he was there because he loves her and he needed her in his life. He apologized for the pain that he caused her, but he wanted her to know that he was very much still in love with her. He even went on to explain that prior to the whole big Christmas blow up, he had planned on, you know, divorcing over the Christmas break. Like anyone, Joy gets frustrated. She still wants to know, you know, the point is, why did you keep this as a big secret? Your marital status, you kept it as a big secret. And this chapter is so steamy and so descriptive that all I can say is that in the end, they both became very emotional and made passionate love together. All right. So all of you that are watching, you have been caught up on chapters 12 through 18, what we're going to be discussing tonight. All right. So let's get down to talking. Woo-wee. First thing I want to talk about is that when we go back to chapter 12, 13, and 14, let's hit there first. The who walks out on a stable marriage. I want to add in, because it's in the book, a stable financial marriage. How about that? I see you laughing, Nene. I think that's a very important part too. So what do you guys think, you know, in reading the brief description as to why Della decided to leave and, you know, reading about Preston's response, and then, you know, some of you are married, some of you are like me that are not. What do you guys think? who walks out on a stable, I'm going to add in financial marriage.
Nobody sane.
The question is it stable on the outside
You
or
know what,
stable
Jay?
on the inside? Is it stable in the inside and just not on stable on the surface?
You know what, Jay? I solely agree with you, because if it was a situation where it was that stable, why even entertain the thought of leaving?
Somebody isn't happy. And
Yeah.
It sounded like
somebody
her.
stepped out. Huh?
I
Sounded
would,
like Della.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
say-
He seemed happy. Obviously, she wasn't.
You know what? Did he seem happy or did he seem routine?
I'm going to tell you what I think. This
What
is
you
from
think?
old girl mama. She didn't have enough currency in the marriage. There were no children. There was nothing that would hold her or hold him. So when you looked at Carmen's situation and she had to discuss what happened with her and her husband, the currency was there. There was more to hold them together than to let them go apart.
I like that currency. I like it. I'm gonna start
Mm.
using that, Miss Pat.
And I want to say though, I think you say who would walk away. I would say someone that's not invested emotionally.
Exactly.
And I think as the story, as the chapter goes on, and I think they come back to it, she was really, it seemed that she was there for her. And when it wasn't right for her, it didn't work anymore. So it wasn't about the money. It wasn't about the big house. It wasn't about the fact that it was a marriage. It just wasn't, she wasn't invested.
Selfish.
Yes, very selfish.
Very.
The same reason she came back, because what she left for, it wasn't for her. So she came back because her plans didn't work out. So it's like she didn't invest in the marriage, period.
Yeah.
She brought nothing to the table.
Well, you have people who are sometimes in marriages, they don't go to that extreme. You know, somebody might go back to school, take up an activity or outside sport. I think it's just if you don't have enough going on, and apparently she thought she had some other desire outside that wasn't being fulfilled, and she just needed to go away and try to get some fulfillment. But I mean, it was just straight up insane. Totally insane.
But Stephanie, do you think, I think to Pat's point, it wasn't, they didn't have children, but is that what keeps you there? So she could have written her book, she could have toured the world, she could have done a number of things and still been married.
Yeah, I
But
didn't
to
get
me-
the whole.
Yeah, to me, she was not emotionally invested. She definitely wasn't in love with him.
I think she's just selfish.
Yeah, and I mean that's exactly. So she was married because it was the right thing to do. He's fine. He's got this, and we got this. And so as her emotions, as her moments change, that's when she becomes engaged. She's engaged as long as it's about her, and she's getting what she wants. And now coming back is because that's what she wants. And she knows he's interested in somebody else. So that makes her want to stay even more so.
Yeah, she felt threatened, like, wait a minute.
Because what was it, 2 years they were apart?
Yeah.
And he never pursued a divorce or anything, because no one, it was like there was no reason to get a divorce, I guess, in his mind from a financial standpoint, and until he met someone that was worth getting the divorce.
Yeah.
So in her mind, it was like, you know what, he hasn't left me, so he's still there for me. She was selfish. She was very selfish.
Do you think sometimes, you know your partner, so do you think the 2 years had anything to do with that? Like maybe she's played these stunts before, and so he kind of just quote unquote waited it out? What do you guys think? Does that happen or no?
Typically.
Yeah, it does happen.
I'm going to say men don't always act on things the same way a woman would.
That's true.
Okay, now, and I can say in my own personal life, I was separated for 12 years. And I was not trying to get a divorce because I was going to have to pay him.
Right.
And I wasn't about to pay him
Financial, right.
a quarter. So I held out as long as I could. And a lawyer said to me, well, you probably can outlive him. And I said, well, let's do that. Okay, so it was kind of like that. So I'm just saying, you know, there's sometimes real reasons why you don't want to get into that game right then.
Right. Go girl.
And I think also, so speaking personally too, I mean, after, in my experience, after 20 plus years, that someone would just leave. And so to me, and you know, it happened to me personally. I would say for me, it was just that there wasn't any emotional investment. I mean, because you can't, money shouldn't matter, life, health, health shouldn't matter. It's about not a physical connection, an emotional connection. And it just wasn't there. So the leaving, like you say, you stay, he probably would never have filed for divorce, but for me, that was always a way of holding on. So if you wanted to go, then you wanted to go, and whatever risk that took, you just take that risk and let them go. But it doesn't. But again, it was about an investment, an emotional investment.
And this was a new marriage. This was a new marriage. It usually takes 7 to 10 years for people to understand.
Not 5.
No, not 2, 3. I think
Not 3. I was thinking that was quick too, but you know,
they didn't have anything else they had no glue.
I like that.
Together. A lot of times when you're concentrating on kids, getting them to school, doing this, doing that, the partnership is working and the friendship is working. When the kids go away,
It's on.
Well, what happens is, if you look at the other person and say, he ain't really my friend.
Oh, really?
I don't need to hang around with this no more. Then that's what happens. You know, it's like you're doing it for the sake of the responsibilities you have. And when the responsibilities end, you look at each other and say, oh, no.
No.
She said, oh, no.
No, we got to talk about this. Somebody
Somebody got to go.
Yeah, somebody got to go.
Right.
Well,
Right,
you
though.
know, wow. Okay, if I ever get in a situation where I'm a divorce, I'm gonna call you and ask you what I should do, girl, because you think things. All right, so that was a lot, and I want to go over to our Facebook viewers and see what they say. We have Leah, and she says the same thing. The first 3 years of marriage is usually the honeymoon phase.
It is.
And, she agreed also with you, Ms. Pat, it depends on how much is invested.
Yes. Yeah.
So I guess it's pretty much what you weigh. So moving on, as far as we traveled through chapter 13 and 14, and I've already recapped on this. I do like, in chapter 14 on the Sister Spring getaway to Carmen's, the happily married, stable sister Carmen, shares her recovery story to Joy, as I said, and surprisingly, none of the sisters are aware of it. I do want to make that point too. Yeah. And it's on page 131. Steph noted this condition called love. I like that. What did you mean by that, Stephanie, when you put that in the book? I would love to know your thought process.
Because, love is a wonderful thing, but let's just face it, it's just a sickness. It is.
Get a whiz on that one.
Sickness.
It's like that, please.
It's It is tell me, when you are in love and it goes downhill, aren't you sick?
To the bone.
To the bone. You can't talk, you can't eat, you just can't do nothing. That's a condition. It's a medicine for.
Everybody had to take
a condition.
It is. Physically,
say, Barbara?
I said everybody had to take a wine sip on that one.
Oh, yeah.
It's a condition. Love is a condition. That's what I meant. And shout out to Gwenny Collins, who wrote our track. This condition called love.
This condition called love.
Yeah. It's a wonderful thing, but it's a condition.
Because it can also make you do crazy things.
Crazy
Okay.
things,
So,
Jay.
Della.
Crazy
Okay.
things, Della. Yeah.
a little bit of
So
stalking.
that's what I meant.
things
It's a
like that.
condition.
All of the
Crazy.
above.
All of the above.
Crazy things like what?
You
Jay,
name it. I mean, all of us been through it. We've been in love.
Yes, we have.
Talker walked into it.
All of
Go
us
ahead,
done
Jay.
something that take us out of our character. We've
I
all
believe
stalked.
so.
We've
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
made a phone call and hung up when they asked. We all did.
We all.
That was before call ID though. So
That's right. That's when you knew somebody at the telephone company.
yeah,
Called them up and got
Did
somebody's
you do
phone
any
number.
drive-bys?
all of us.
Yeah,
Hey, look. All of us done ride-bys. All of us sat there.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Y'all remember what they call tree boxing?
no.
What's
That's
that?
stalking.
Oh,
Oh, tree boxing
yeah.
and
They didn't have
stalking.
a name for it. They call it tree boxing. So that means
So,
you're behind the hedges, watching and looking.
so with all of that being said, isn't that a condition? Because it doesn't last. It does not last. Just like whatever sickness you have, if you have a rash or whatever, it
Mhm.
doesn't last. So
That's
it's
right.
just a condition. So that
It is.
crazy drive-by, that temporary insanity that you go through, it
Mhm.
doesn't last. So
That's right.
love is a condition.
Most people, it doesn't last.
Ooh,
Well,
wow.
Yeah.
it's true.
Most people, but you know,
Barb,
with
you know
any
something?
condition, it
Hey.
just gradually starts to go away.
True.
And then
I
you
know.
wake up and you feel better. And it's like, you
Yeah.
know what? I'm over it.
Yeah,
I'm done
that's
with it.
joy in the morning.
They're trying
Yeah.
to fix the coronavirus. They need to fix love.
You know what? I'm with that. So if we look in
You
the
can't
chat
fix it.
room,
Because you can't fix it because stupidity is going to outweigh it. It's going to come back every time.
and you know what? It's funny that you brought that up, Jay, because Gloria, another Gloria Johnson, said, not only are you sick, you stupid. And
Basically,
she is absolutely, positively right.
because you find yourself doing something to take you totally out of your
This
currency.
is true.
And then
You-
you're embarrassed.
Yeah, and you
I
sit
really
there
do
going,
that.
I can't believe I'm doing this. I can't believe I'm sitting out here watching this person.
Yeah,
I can't believe I'm putting too much energy in all of the above.
yeah,
I remember
that's right.
this was years ago.
Oh, we get
Hey, look,
it.
hey, look.
Oh, come on, Jay. We want it.
I followed her to the hair salon and waited for her to get her hair done.
Oh, okay. I'm sitting
This
out
was
here
long
waiting.
time ago. That was when I was really stupid.
Yeah,
What you should have did, you should have went there and paid for the hairdo.
that's what I'm
Probably
talking
would've got a
about. I was
conversation.
wondering if he would say that. Did you go in there and pay for it too?
Because when it gets to that point, it's nothing you can do. I don't care what you pay for.
What?
It's nothing you can do.
It's already over for you.
It's already over.
Well,
Yeah.
that's when I open up my trunk and say, "Get on in."
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think we've kind of, it's funny. I joke, one of my girlfriends from college, and we lost connection. So I don't feel bad about sharing this, but she was just, so, okay, if it doesn't work, let's move on, with everything, school, like she was like more of a resolution person versus following, focusing on the problem. When she got her heart broke, she came to my dorm room at 3:00 in the morning, wanted me to ride with her to a neighboring campus to sit outside. And my silly butt went with her because I'm like eating popcorn, like, oh, what's good?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm my girlfriend.
Right. But I'm looking at her like, you are a totally, the heart is fragile. You are a totally different person. I would have never imagined you wanting to do something like this. Like, you get the energy up to knock on my dorm room at 3:00 in the morning to go chase this joker. But we went and we caught him in the act, and it was a big blow up. And and they were back together. That was a Friday night, and they were back together Monday.
So I repeat myself, this condition called love.
This condition called love. You need to
All
coin
right.
that.
We
seriously.
get it now.
We get it now.
That's what it is.
Thank you, Steph.
Okay. So after the condition, we move on to healing and forgiving. It's tough, but can it be done?
Mhm.
Healing and forgiving. It's tough, but can it be done? Now we learned from Carmen,
Mhm.
you know, she took what people would say an untraditional approach. She was like Miss Pat. She got these kids. You know, she put in time with this joker. She probably pick out his clothes and everything.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
she wasn't ready to, throw in the towel for that one or that single encounter. However, I do like the way it's noted in the book. There were things that were, kind of shook the foundation, of course, the indiscretion, but you also have to fix it and, implement things, that, I don't know, y'all married folks, help me out.
Well, you have to agree to look past those situations that occurred. And if you're going to salvage the marriage, then you have to heal, and you have to forgive, and then you have to just do things differently. And I think that helps with the healing, because you have to agree, okay, we're not going to talk about it. I mean, except for outside of counseling, but it just takes a while.
Mhm.
And if the men are not stupid, they will go along with the program.
Jay.
And
All right.
98% are not stupid, but there's that 2% that, think the grass is greener on the other side. And we always say the grass is greener on the other side because it hasn't been walked on.
Okay, you're
That
right.
go both ways,
Yes,
man.
it does. Yes, it
We
That
need a
does.
go both
lawnmower.
ways.
And it's just not
Because
men.
It's
I
not.
know a lot of folks, and I know my cousin.
Okay, the cousin.
Mhm.
My
Mhm.
cousin.
Really, your cousin Jay?
Yeah, my cousin. I'm gonna have to throw my cousin under the
We
bus
gonna
because it
put
can't
Pee
be
Wee
my
in
boy,
there
it
now.
can't be my
Pee
brother,
Wee in
so
it.
it's gonna be my cousin.
All right.
Your cousin.
Stable marriage,
Mhm.
big house, 2.5 cars, 2.5 kids and dog.
Perfect.
And she screwed up because she thought the grass was greener.
Oh, okay.
He left with she had 2 kids, one by him and one by her ex-husband.
Mhm.
She dropped the one kid off with the ex-husband and left him with the kid they have, and she moved in with old boy. And things didn't work out, of course. So she came crawling back. And I can call him an idiot, but this idiot took her back.
Mhm.
And guess what?
What's
He
that?
turned around and did the exact same
He
thing.
did it again.
He
Yeah.
turned around and did it
Usually
again.
it repeats. It repeats itself.
But now he had to feel that hurt twice to realize that, hey,
Yeah.
no matter what you do for this woman, she isn't gonna get it.
But
So
you-
he's since moved on and remarried, and he's happy now.
Mhm.
What we gonna say, Wanda?
I was just gonna say though, in the thing that I think they did differently than so many of us, and I'm talking about African American couples who have these challenges, is they went to counseling. And
Mhm.
everything that she seemed to repeat to Joy was the process that the counselor took them through. So the not talking about it, not when you're angry, not bringing it up, all of those things. And most of us don't go to counseling. And so, and Steph was pointing out African American men. And so, Jay, I'm going to put this in quotes. Not all of them, but most of them will not go to counseling.
Mm-mm.
So, they will, because nobody can tell them
Yeah.
how to. So that goes back again to the emotional investment, because evidently both she and her husband, Carmen and her husband, were both emotionally invested in their relationship and in their marriage and what marriage means. And so they took those vows together, and they took their counseling together. They didn't just walk away from it. Most of the situations, like you say, we try to work it out ourselves, and it's never really worked out. And it just either ends, or it does what your cousin did, is it keeps, going over and over again, and people keep getting hurt. And after a while, it just disintegrates.
He was trying to do what he thought was right.
I mean,
I agree,
I
Wanda,
100% agree.
I was one of those.
You have to go to counseling
Go ahead.
because
Go ahead, Jay.
it takes somebody else to tell you, because both of y'all think you're right. And it takes somebody else to sit back and say, no, you tripping and you crazy, you wrong. She's right, he's wrong, he's right, she's wrong, and vice versa. It takes somebody else to tell you that, to let you see what you're not seeing. Because it's some stubborn folks that they swear up and down and talk to their girlfriends or they talk to their boys, and their boys just as dumb as they are. And they telling them, nah, you should do this and do that. Nah, you can't do that. You're wrong. And you know, I don't give a F. Yeah, you really do, because that's why you're talking about it.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
you need somebody else other than a family member, somebody with a totally unbiased opinion to let both of y'all tell y'all sides. And then they say, no, you're absolutely wrong. You're absolutely right, or vice versa.
Right.
Yeah, when I got married, you could have never told me in a million years that I would be divorced, because when I walked down that aisle, I knew this was the man I was going to spend the rest of my life with. We had dated for 4 years. We were married for 6 years, and we probably had one great year of marriage. That was it. One great year of marriage. But I still hung in there. I still wanted to be there. I still wanted to be a mom to his son, everything. And then when everything blew up, it was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. So let's go to counseling. He refused, you guys, to go to counseling. He refused. I could not talk him into it, nothing. And we ended up splitting it up. We had an amicable divorce, everything. We stayed friends. Actually, we're really good friends to this day. But even after the years, several years had passed, he still tried to get back with me. I'm like, no, because when I wanted to try with counseling, you would not. I mean, he would not. He refused. He wasn't one of those people that I think I know everything. He knew everything.
He knew everything.
So it was really difficult. But then when I started dating someone that treated me like a queen, like a Preston, then I couldn't go back to that.
Yeah.
I couldn't. So counseling, I think, is wonderful if you both agree.
If you both, and you're right, and it takes two to make them work. I'm gonna go over to the chat room. So the comments, and look here, just to go back, I see Yolanda Johnson. Hi, Yolanda. She said, love can make people do crazy things, but you have a lot of men and women who play games. And she said, and when you invest a lot in one person and they hurt you, you react based on your emotions at that time. And I think that's how counseling, to me, should be the first source of action in any situation that's traumatic, like, or life-changing like that. And I will say too, you know, Jawad, she also posted here, counseling is needed before the marriage.
Agreed.
You know, sometimes you get caught up in your love for the person. It's before the marriage. We're gonna say hi to Lauren. She's on. Hi, Lauren.
Lauren.
Sorry, I'm late.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Glad you could.
You know what, Takesha, one thing that I found out about counseling, because I did counseling as well, is that I don't know if somebody covered this when I stepped away for a second, but I shouldn't say men, but from my experience, with respect to counseling, if the person, male or female, doesn't like what the counselor is saying, they retract and they don't want to go. And as we used to say in the old days, and this is not against any animals or anything, a hurt dog is going to holler every time, because you don't want to hear what somebody is saying, because they're speaking to you and you refuse to accept it. So you're like, I don't want to go anymore. I'm not going there. That's not doing us any good. And that's only because you don't want to hear what they have to say. And I know from experience, because that happened with me in my divorce. Counseling, didn't want to hear anything that the counselor had to say.
But Steph, do you think though that part of that though is, again, because I feel, you know, I guess my word for the night is invested, and whether or not it's what you really, really want. You know, I mean, you have to ask yourself if the marriage means enough to do this. And I think that was one of the questions she said. So, you know, going to counseling is one thing. Wanting to go to counseling is something else. Knowing that you have an issue and you want to resolve it. And it sounds, you know, so for me, it's the experience of not wanting to go. And for you, it's the experience of going, but not really wanting to be there. And those things don't make success either. I think the thing that made it for them was, you know, I think somebody said something about counseling before. went to counseling before marriage, but that's a different part of your life, especially after 20 some years.
True.
And afterwards, you have to want to make it work. And if you don't want to do it, if it's not both of you, you can have your pastor, you can have a stranger, you can
True.
pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for counseling. But if you don't want it, it's never going to work. And
Nope.
if you're not willing to change yourself, because like she said, they had a good marriage,
Yeah.
and this thing happened.
And you also can't leave out of counseling and act like you didn't hear what was said in the counseling
Gotta
session.
do the work.
You can't go in and walk out and think that, oh, he tripping. I know I'm right, when he just told you that you were wrong. No, but you still have it in your mind that you were right. I remember when I went to counseling, at first I didn't want to go, but I said, you know what, I'm gonna go. So I went, and we went in there, we sat with the pastor, and she was like, well, he didn't want to come. Pastor said, but he's here. I said, yeah, but he didn't want to come. Yeah, but he's here. Yeah, well,
Right.
look. Time out. This isn't Jerry Springer. He's here. And I just sat there and I didn't say nothing. And then we talked about it. And like when we walked out, it's like we never went in there in the first place, because he was telling her one thing and she was like, he don't know. I'm right. And I was like, hey, okay.
Not invested.
I look at you say I heard you. I kind of picture it as, and it's funny, I like the way you admitted, Jay, that you didn't want to go at first. I don't know. I guess it's kind of, you can kind of look at it in a situation to say, well, I know this person.
Yeah.
So I know you. So if I go talk to this person and they tell me things that I'm doing that's quote unquote, that's wrong or need to be addressed, they don't know what happened 2 weeks ago, or they don't know what happened last week, or they don't know what I have done for you or did for you, or what I have to do for you on a day-to-day basis. Do you think that kind of sort of impacted your not wanting to go? Because you thought maybe
exactly.
like, okay.
Because you think, well, I already know how this is going to turn out. You're going to go in there and play innocent. You're going to play like you're innocent. And then I'm gonna look like the bad guy. So I say, you know what? I'm going to go. But the pastor saw right through it. As soon as she opened her mouth, he saw right through it when he was saying, when she was saying, well, he didn't want to come. She said that like 3 times. He was like, but he's sitting right here.
Right.
Yeah, but he didn't want to come. And it's like, oh boy, here we go. I just sat there like, now you see what I'm talking about. And he looked at me and I just looked at him and I was like, you see. So now that it's not like he was siding with me, but he was letting her talk. Yeah. And she kept cutting him off, and he was like, wait a minute, hold on. Let me talk, man. This is why y'all here. And of course, we walked out without getting anything resolved. And we were right back at square one.
Right.
Because she didn't want to listen. So I was like, it's like everybody had that person that you could sit there and talk to. And when you finish, it's like y'all never had the conversation, because in their mind, they're not listening to what you're saying.
Right, they're stuck.
They're just waiting for you to shut up so they can jump on a defensive.
You said so they can talk, Gloria.
Yeah, exactly.
And then sometimes with women, we just go ahead and cry, and it's over for everybody. You're done.
Shut it down.
Yeah. I'm crying. It's over.
Yeah, but Wanda made a huge point when she said, regardless of anything else, no matter who's wrong, who's done what, you have to want it. And if you don't want it, nothing else matters.
This is true.
Right.
Nothing else is going to matter.
That's true. You're right.
And that takes you back to what you wrote about Preston and Della. He was begging her to stay. She didn't want it. So that's why she left. He did everything he could, but she didn't want it.
Yeah. But he told her it was not a revolving door.
Right.
And I like that, because sometimes you think, especially if you're in a relationship where someone could be more emotionally investing in you than you are to them. They probably think they can get away with, I can leave him and come back. He ain't going nowhere. Don't nobody want him but me.
But don't you feel good when they want to come back?
Absolutely, girl.
Because now
you don't take them back. Don't you feel good?
Because now you know that. Because now that you know, well, look, you say to yourself, well, damn, I'm not crazy after all. Because if I was that bad, you would run as far away from me as you can
and never turn back.
But now you want to come back, but you just if they did all this cruddy stuff and left you and went and experienced, they were out there looking for another you, but in a different in a different fashion. But when they found out it wasn't there, now they want to come back and say, you know what, he or she wasn't so bad after all. Now they want to come back. But
No,
you
that
have to be strong enough to
ground on
say,
both sides.
that's why I say he or she, because it go both ways.
Yeah,
He
it does.
want to come back and she want to come back, especially when they see you with somebody else. That's the kicker. When they see you with some, especially a dude.
Bingo.
When a dude see you with another one, with another dude, especially if this, that, and the other thing, and he like, damn. Now he playing tricks with himself, and he want that back because he know what dude getting, and he done screwed up. Now he want to come back, but sometimes it should be too late.
Yeah.
Especially if he done went out there and found out that the grass wasn't greener, it had potholes and lumps in it, and had to cut.
Yeah, just like at home.
And sometimes that may be a teaching moment. Sometimes, is that, sometimes it does take, especially if you've been married a long time, or if you've been married like really young. Sometimes it might be a post check to say, you went out there and saw what was out there, and now you back home. Okay. So, but I do want to go over to the people who are watching us on Facebook. We have Yolanda again. She says transparency moment. Hold tight for this one. I went through marriage counseling, and my husband had an affair through the entire time. We were going through our sessions, lied with the straightest face. But who knew? No worries. I'm totally at peace now. Wow. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that one. Okay. So the next, and going on with chapter 15 through chapter 18, and I've already, recapped, so we know what's going on at this particular moment. Zeke wants joy. Preston wants joy. Joy is she, what she's battling on, what choice she should make, or what is she following her heart? Is she going to follow her mind? What is she to do? So I guess, and as we go on and, Joy goes through, we get to the chapter where Preston comes in town for his quote unquote business meeting. Well, he did have the meeting, but it got postponed as we read. And so he head right over to Joy's spa to see her, not keeping in mind that he made the arrangement with Della that he wasn't going to make any attempts to contact Joy, and he was going to come back that next day. And then they had this passionate, encounter, like, really, really, really passionate encounter. So in her lovemaking session with Zeke, as well as with Preston, is this like fact or fairy tale? Does this happen? Can you love more than one person? Love versus passion versus logic. What do you guys think?
Yes. You can.
You can?
Yes.
Do you think
These things
situations
can happen.
right?
No, it can happen.
Jay, what did you say?
I was going to say, do you think situations, because sometimes I noticed like within the latter part, especially when Joy was talking with Tyra on the phone, sometimes you can let fear kind of drive your heart to a certain direction because you feel like, just like self-preservation, hurt again. So I don't know. So what do you guys think? Do you think, Tyra got kind of mixed up a little bit because she was scared?
Joy.
She kind of
Wait a minute.
The
Joy.
person that could least
Joy.
hurt her. Say that again, Ms. Pat, I'm sorry.
Joy.
Joy. Yeah. Do you think Joy kind of made that decision based on fear, or was it solely her heart, or was she just trying to make a smart decision? Because it seems like in reading the book, she was really, her feelings for Zeke, they were genuine. When she ran into Preston, they were genuine. It was almost like she couldn't control it. That's just the way she felt. But is it possible to do that? Like, is that BS, or does that really happen?
What you say, Erica?
Oh, I was saying, yeah, I'm just shaking my head because I think, I really felt she's in love, but I think for her, Zeke was the safe thing
Mm-hmm.
to do.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
in
agree with you.
their history, so she knew that love and but it didn't complete her. So
Right.
that's why she always had that thing that she felt like Preston could complete her. But because my heart has been broken and I'm not gonna open up that again, even though I want it, she kept trying to let it go. That's why I think she didn't want to talk to him at all, like
I agree. Yeah.
Right.
so
Face it.
so it's just
I agree with you. And we have over in our Facebook, Brandy says, some people believe love is a spectrum. You can love one person and be sexually attracted to another.
Mm.
Do we
That's
think Joy was
interesting.
kind of driven by that? Because she definitely had something to think about.
It didn't seem like she had a problem with either one of them from that perspective.
You sure didn't.
I think so. We don't know what Joy had on her mind, but I do think that that the comfort she felt with Zeke was different because she was just getting to know Preston, and he hurt her so badly in the beginning that it was just, that hers was more emotion protection. Whereas with Zeke is comfortable, we go to church together, we know same people, we fight, but we still get along, and we're so physically attracted to each other, that it was just easy. It was really easy for her. And I think with Preston, it was getting to know him and then feeling so just connected to him to be hurt like that. I think it was just a protection. She a guard. She had but I think,
but that's natural. I'm sorry. I think that's natural to do that. I mean, you see a car coming, you get out of the way, right? So that's natural to do, but I'm glad you brought up the church. Because that whole debacle in church, I want to bring that up. And you know what? To me, I feel like when you have distractions like that, when you're trying to, I don't ever want to be in Joy's position with, matters of the heart. I feel for her. I can only imagine what she was going through. But when she was talking about all of them went to church and the people were whispering and making little comments and how Della would be all over Preston in church. And she was like, it's just disgusting. Sometimes that could right there, knowing that you have to deal with another person's, I don't want to say this, but I'm just going to say it, baggage, it forces you to kind of make a decision off that, because if she does get with Preston, let's just say they had kids, she don't have to deal with Della for ever,
Yes. Yeah.
So is that being smart?
Because once Della and Preston get a divorce, it's over. They don't have anything to tie them together.
Yeah.
Right, but I was just saying in a lifestyle setting, let's just say they had kids. When I was saying let's just say they had kids. If that was a factor, that's something she would have to consider.
Well, Della be fine when she get a man.
Yeah,
say that again, Barbara. I'm sorry.
Della be fine when she get a man. Most of the time, the other party has someone, then they're fine. So
yeah, you have to get a man because she crazy. So whenever he leaves her and goes, I think that that wouldn't stop Della from what she's done. She's going to still make sure she hurt the both of them now.
Erica, I'm with you. She is messy, and that's it. Capital messy.
She's like the one that if it's over with me, that's okay. I'm going to make sure I hurt you.
She won't stop.
Yeah, she's satisfied.
But has she had counseling? Is she operating off emotion?
She had
she's crazy.
Oh, she's crazy.
And messy.
Yeah, she's crazy because Keisha see the difference in. You remember when Carmen caught that girl with her husband in the office?
Girl,
she didn't attack the girl.
No.
She
went straight to her husband.
She told her to leave.
She handled that straight up.
Yeah,
right.
Very well.
I think I would have rather approached the conversation because the way she calculated to walk in on him and the other girl, I don't know. I think I would have rather just heard it verbally.
No, because he could have lied. I would have wanted to see too. I would have did it the same way she did it.
She did it right.
I've seen it.
Yes,
You
Wow.
can tell me and still be lying, but no, I want to see it. So I would have been calculating as well.
Mhm.
Whoa.
Yeah.
But Jay, I gotta ask you this, Jay, from a male's perspective. I want to go back to Christmas. How is it that Preston went home to Della knowing that she was that deceitful and sent that girl, the woman he loves, a Christmas package? How could a man go back to that knowing this woman is deceitful and evil?
Yeah. That's difficult. Yeah.
Because some men are just stupid like that.
Oh,
I'm gonna let you talk about Preston like that.
Oh, yeah, we got a team Preston's team.
I mean, I'm
going
Team
on.
Preston too, but I'm like, you went
And-
back to her?
Well,
and some dudes like to leave doors open. So if they
That's
need
what
to
it
go
was.
back through that door,
You don't know what's up.
they
And
they
Joy
could
wasn't
always
talking to him,
get back
so-
to that door. They like to leave open doors or the
Say it
doors.
again, Jay. Say it again.
Yeah,
Everybody
they like to
record
leave doors
this.
because you might not be able to get in this door, but I left this door open, so one of them doors gonna open.
Isn't that like a sign of just utterly not committing? Like I was ticked off when I read when Preston was talking to Tyra, talking about, well, what difference does it make if Joy don't want me? Like,
yes.
Why would you go back to somebody that's like that?
But
Go
that
to
goes
somebody
back.
else.
So I think that
People
goes
ain't
back
crazy
to
though too.
Say that,
Say
I'm
that,
sorry.
Lauren. Go ahead.
People ain't crazy too. I'm convinced. Like
Yeah.
that works for some people. And they're
Yeah,
like,
it does. It does.
You're absolutely
You're
right.
right, it does.
It's an ego thing.
And some people are not content with the peaceful and the calm. They have to
Exactly.
have
They're
chaos in their
afraid.
lives in order to function.
Yes.
I know a guy like that too. He loved it when the girls would fight and be throwing plates and things at each other. And I'm like, why? Who likes that? But they showed that they want him and it made him feel, his macho,
And
But
look,
crazy.
What were you
I'm
gonna
gonna
say,
throw
Juan?
this out
Oh,
there
sorry.
since it's all these females right here. How often have you said, and be honest,
We
I
are.
don't want to date him because he's too nice.
You got to put that in context. What does
Yeah,
that
I'm gonna
mean?
say that.
Too nice.
He's too nice. I need somebody a little rough around the edges.
No.
This
Yeah, like
guy's
the
just
bad
too.
boys now. The bad boys. That's the excitement.
He's just too nice.
Too nice or pushover can kind of be. If you seem like a pushover, I don't want to date no one that just agrees with me all the time.
Yeah.
Overly romantic for no reason. That's a
I don't
different
like
category. Yeah.
I don't like
Really nice as long as he's Mandingo.
There you go.
Okay, and when
Most of
you
them
say
are
Really nice.
Most of them get a kick to the curb.
when
Too nice.
now hang on now. When you say overly romantic for no reason, he might bring you flowers or bring you candy for absolutely no reason at all. But Ray not doing anything for you.
I don't want
What's
the
that
Ray
with
Ray.
Ray? I might just think Ray cute.
Oh, that's their name, be right?
Right. Why am I? Yeah.
I think it's a balance. I think
I
you
don't know
want
why
the guy
some
that's
girls
like-
want Ray Ray. Go ahead, Lauren. I'm sorry.
I'm saying no. I think it's a balance. Like you definitely
Right.
don't want the guy that's gonna yes, whatever you say. Yep, you want to go there. Yep, whatever you want. Like no one wants the yes.
Nah.
No.
But at
Boring.
the same time, you don't want the opposite of that, where it's like they love the chaos aspects. I think you just need a balance of it. Stand your
Yeah.
ground, give some emotion and love, but then still be able to
Have a little rough around the
a
edges.
little rough. Yeah.
Rough,
Yeah.
little rough.
Mhm.
But you,
Yeah.
so
I said be quiet.
Oh. Yeah.
so we were talking about.
What were you saying, Wanda? Because Gloria going off it too.
So I know, I'm telling you. I'm getting ready to go back to Preston. Remember Preston also when he was having lunch with Tyra, he was talking about, he was basically settling. And so you talk about why did he go back? And he went back again when we talk about Joy and her comfort with Zeke because she's comfortable in that place. He goes back home. Remember, it is his house. He just didn't put her out when he got back, but he continued to try to reach out to Joy and she didn't. And so his thing was, so do I just settle and try to make this work because Joy has moved on? So I think that some of it is maybe an insecurity that he has, that
It
he
is,
wouldn't just
yeah.
walk away from it. But the other part is he knew he wanted joy. He never stopped trying to have joy. She
Yeah.
just wasn't responding. But he was
Right.
also, one, home in his house, and two, I think comfortable. And he was willing to just be content because he couldn't have what he wanted.
Yeah, he was gonna let it go.
But what's strange about what you just said, Wanda, is that he wasn't with Della for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So when he goes back and it doesn't work out for Joy, why does he go straight back to Della?
Exactly.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
he went back to his house. Remember that she came back and moved back in. Now, why he didn't put her out, I think it's because he knew how devastated Joy was, and Joy Joy didn't write this. I mean, Step didn't write this part.
Girl, I said it's our book, so go ahead and write your chapter.
But my assumption in this is that he didn't put her out because, as upset as he was, he still wanted Joy, and Joy wasn't responding. And again, he was home, and they didn't say, occasionally they had sex, and it was just for the whatever. I think it was described as just to satisfy, for him, just that it was just to do it. It wasn't about any passion or anything. I think he was just with her. He just went back home, and that's
He had a door.
That's what
He
she
had
was.
that door, right,
He
Jay?
did. He
Absolutely.
had that door.
He had
And it
what
was
you
something
call
that
he had what you call his old faithful. He had someplace to go.
Yeah.
If all else fails, I can go back over here. And all else fails. So guess what? In his mind, all else failed. So that's why he went back.
And he wasn't divorced.
Saw her as a cutty partner.
True.
Right.
They still had a marriage.
Marriage.
So I don't know if she had a name on the house or however she got back in, but they
Sounds
were
like she
still
ain't
married.
Well, if they were still married, it doesn't matter whether she had her name on the house anyway. He can't put her out.
That's what I'm saying. That's why she could come back in.
Y'all know what? You know why he ain't mess with Della? Because she crazy. That's why she got to stay in that house for 2 years without being put out.
Exactly.
You know that his woman was crazy.
Well, let me tell you, me and Wanda are going to hook her up with Zeke.
I
We're
was
gonna
thinking
give her
that
to
too.
Zeke, and we're going to work this deal out.
We're gonna work it out.
He deserves that kind of behavior.
I don't think so. I don't think so either. But one key point is that, think about it. Zeke was gonna settle for Deirdre. Preston was gonna settle for no, Zeke was gonna settle for Deirdre. Yes,
Right.
Preston was gonna settle for Della.
Right.
And you're right. And I do.
Do we settle? I mean, that was one of the key things that I was thinking when I was writing. I'm writing again, just creativity, come true. But do people just settle? Do you settle?
People do.
If Preston hadn't have taken that chance with Terry and flew back to DC to make Joy face him, Joy would have ended up with Zeke. He would have ended back up with Della. Joy and Zeke would have been through that same cycle that caused them to break up in the first place.
Would they
She
though?
would have said, well, because it was a cycle. What was going to be different?
Yeah.
What is
If she's quote unquote still in love, if she's genuinely in love with both of them, and if he got a wake up call,
He's in love with him because he's a good man.
He's safe.
Yeah, I think she's genuinely in love with.
And it's logical. It's the logical answer. It is. It's the logical
he is
answer.
the logical
Yeah.
answer.
But it's missing on a regular basis that passion. They have passion now, but just think about it. Their passion came when they broke up. The passion came when he just stopped by, or when she made that booty call. That was the passion. But on a regular basis, they had a cycle where there was no passion. So he was actually just a logical choice. She loved him. And you can be in love with somebody, I think, and they're just not that one for you.
Yeah. It can
And
be
you
love.
remember he left her on that floor. Glory said that floor was cold.
That floor was
Yeah,
cold.
That That was hilarious. I still haven't gotten over that, Glory. That was hilarious. You know what, Steph? I guess I didn't think about that. You're right, because you are who you are. You may go into overdrive to get someone back to prove to them that you can change, but I guess you kind of do fade if you're not, into your old ways eventually again, I guess. I don't know. I guess you guys are Team Preston. I just have to say this. The whole situation with Preston just dangling Della, it kind of, for a little bit of moment, I kind of felt bad for Della. Just a little bit, because, and look, stay with me.
Mhm.
Because he went back to her. Remember when he was going to DC, guess who he was back with? Della.
Mhm.
He didn't go back to her. He just didn't stop her.
But
He didn't go
She
back.
went back to him.
She came back to him. He just didn't say no. He just
Yeah.
opened that door Jay talked about. That
Right.
door. He let it open. He let her in. He didn't
Yeah.
go back seeking Della. Because remember, he was without Della for 2 years. If he wanted Della, well, not necessarily, because she was the one that walked out on him, but she decided to come back. He didn't go back seeking her.
But if you're living with someone or in the same house with someone, and you know, quote unquote, that they are in this mindset that we are together, why fake the funk? If you're already prearranging to ambush Joy at her job, talking to her, this is premeditated. It wasn't like you got off the plane and was like, I'm gonna go see Joy. You planned this, and you already know. Look, I'm channeling my inner Jay. Oh, girl, crazy.
There was nothing that he said earlier, or that is talked about earlier in the book, to say that that she was crazy. It just said, her walking out, of course, all of that was crazy, but that she had those type of behaviors where she would send a gift wrap to the other woman. But now remember, she's under pressure, because the man that has stayed married to her all this time while they've been separated is now found another interest. And so for her, the competitive spirit in her says, oh, I'm gonna fight for him, not because I love him so much, but because I'm not gonna lose.
Yeah, she got a condition.
Yeah, exactly. She has a condition.
Okay, I like that.
And so in her behavior, though, her behavior was that of almost a scorned woman, or a woman that, like you say, because I'm not gonna lose this. So she already planning for them to renew their vows. If she was connected to him, she'd know that he wasn't interested in renewing his vows, because he was still trying to get in touch with Joy. She knew that.
She had a challenge that she wanted to go after.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, he didn't have the mindset to get her out of the house, to shut the house down. That was not where it was. There was not enough time for him to get that all figured out.
He was gonna move to DC.
Huh? He was so overcome by his love for Joy, he couldn't think.
No, he wasn't in the mindset to be, in a sense of just working on the legal ability to get all that. He didn't know where she was going to go with it. So the time frame was not giving him what he needed. And so he just laid low, which is typical, of men and women. You lay low. You don't do anything until you know what you need to do.
Wow.
I think that's what happened. He laid low.
Okay.
Well, in his laying low, he's gotten himself into, I don't know. I don't know what chapter 19 is getting ready to take us.
Well, it's gonna take us.
It's gonna take us. It's gonna take us. And so I'm gonna go over into our Facebook chat room, and we're gonna go and see here. Also, if you guys want to, those who are watching Facebook, if you want to get a copy, it's still not too late. We have another segment. We're gonna have an ending segment to this virtual book review of Joy Happen in another week. So if you still want to get your books and be a part of the conversation, you can go over to www.stefwilliams.net and she has some autographed copies she can get to you. Yay!
Yay.
Everybody, you know, this is what the book looks like. Oh, mine's
That's
upside down. And so, wow, we have had another night of deep rooted topics and scenarios and situations, and what I am now privy to, the conditions of love. I want to thank you guys that has joined us on this panel. Thank you again, Steph, for taking time out and also writing this book. And again, we cannot wait until Love Calls come out, because if it's any indication of joy, I got to find out what happened. Like I said, like I said last time, these are my friends.
Goodness.
I need to see what my friends are doing in this next chapter. I
You're
wanna see
right.
what approach
These are
you
your
take.
friends.
That's right, Miss Pat. Check on my friends. And also, you know, in this Corona season, you know, we're doing this as a virtual review, a book review event. If you have any other ideas for me as far as what other virtual events you would like to see, you know, you can email me at www.blueprint2events. You can also message me on Facebook and Instagram. And you can also reach out to Stephanie on Instagram too, author Steph Williams. And we would love to hear what you have to say. If you had a comment that you wanted to bring up that, you know, necessarily didn't get put in the chat feed, still make a comment. And if you had a question for us, comment in the chat room if you want to, and we'll get back with you. Any ending words, Miss Steph, before we let everybody go off to their, you know, before Nene tells us what virtual party we getting ready to go to?
Yeah. I want to know what you're drinking. I want to know what you're drinking.
Nothing.
What you drinking?
Water.
Pinot Grigio.
What you drinking?
All right.
What you drinking?
Wanda, I'm waiting for you to hold. You know my toasting partner. What's up? Yeah. Jay, where's your glass?
Something red.
Something red.
We can't torture Lauren anymore, you guys remember?
Oh, that's right. She's on the fast.
So we'll move
Next week is my last week. Look, packed up. I'm ready to go.
For her, look, what is it? Jacob Cab? Is that that's the first thing you're gonna get, Lauren?
My Josh Cab is ready.
Josh Cab. That's it. Look, I said Jacob Cab.
What should we mail to you?
Justin or Josh. Those are my men when it comes to wine.
Well, we got it coming then.
Justin and Josh. So, but no, thank you guys. This is great. This book is it's some ups and downs, some twists and turns, some themes that we all face personally, or we know someone that has faced, and I just can't wait for us to get to the ending of the book to see exactly how it turns out. I'm currently working on When Love Calls. So this is definitely going to help me with that. So the key thing is that when love calls, how do we know if and when to answer?
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. I was always impressed with your book. I'm telling you.
Thank you.
From the very beginning.
Really
And I
good.
spoke with my sister earlier today. She said, "What are you doing today?" I said, "I'm going on my sister-in-law's chat group. We're talking about joy habits." She said, "I remember that book."
Yeah, absolutely.
I had
I'm
talked to her.
for you.
Her
I
niece,
really am.
Jawah, she has said, Aunt Stephanie's book is really good.
It's fabulous. It is so good.
That's because she was way too young to read it when it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You
what's
know-
funny is when I got it. I'm like, okay, as soon as I finish, I'm like, I call Steph. I'm like, okay, where's the second one?
Where's the
I'm
second one?
on it. Where's the
all
second
said
one?
that. But I pride myself on being smart enough to know the next thing is going to happen. And I can't figure it out with Stephanie. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. She fooled me again.
That's right. So I want you guys, if you haven't gotten the book, you have to get the book for the love scenes. They are off the wall.
I'm telling you,
thing,
I'm
you
a
know,
little
I-
worried about that, Stephanie.
I try to be mindful of the fact that, you know, in Zoom land, you know, I'll use Lauren. Lauren got the babies.
They just
You
walked
can't,
by.
you
You
know.
see them earlier?
Because those babies would
All
grow
right.
up if we talked about some of these love scenes.
Real quick.
Go upstairs.
Right.
A sister is what you call that gray book thing? What you call it?
Oh, 50 Shades of Grey. Is that what
There
you
you go. That's you. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, it's love. It's a condition.
Mm-hmm.
Condition, and yes,
Just
definitely.
remember that.
Yeah,
Whenever
we're gonna
you're
get- we're
starting
gonna-
to act crazy, just tell somebody, I got a condition. It's called love.
Yeah, we're gonna get a vaccine for that.
We have a
It's
t-shirt
called a new love.
called a condition called love. When somebody slash your tires, I'm in love.
You know what? Just give me some Tylenol. Okay, thank you.
This has been great. Thank you guys. I
I
appreciate
love
it.
you all.
Anyway, so Nene,
Beautiful.
see you next week. See
So
you
much
next
fun.
Nene,
Lot
where are
of
we
fun.
going off to?
D-Nice is
D.
doing
Nice.
his show on MTV and VH1 tonight at 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern.
Okay.
All right.
A donation show. It's
Yeah,
a
he's gonna be,
benefit
he's
show.
gonna be on TV.
Okay.
With,
Oh,
Keith
okay.
Summer.
That's
Yeah.
smart of him. Okay. So I'll be
Yep.
sure to tune in. Okay,
Yes,
guys.
I'll be getting my dancing shoes on.
We'll keep
I
you
get my
posted.
10,000 steps in.
I know, definitely. So we'll keep you posted on the final segment of this virtual book review.
Yes.
And as Stephanie mentioned, we'll talk a little bit more about the ingredients and the little, the leaves that she created with the book. She created a small production on the chapter Heart Throbbing and Heartbreaking.
Heart blocking.
And
Ooh.
heart blocking. Woo.
Heart blocking. Yes.
I need to
Okay.
time out. And also the song This Condition called Love, which was I'm guessing Wendy wrote it and produced it. Am I right?
She composed it, she wrote it, produced it, yes.
Wendy. And you guys
Beautiful.
remember Wendy.
Gwendolyn Collins.
Gwendolyn Collins. She kind of chimed
Okay.
in a little bit on our first and second segment. So I don't know if you remember her, but definitely extremely talented. Oh
Very
my
talented.
gosh.
Yes.
So anyway, we're gonna let you guys go. Thank you again. This has been so much fun.
Yes.
And I can't wait. We got one more segment to go. So hope you guys can join us again. And you guys take care. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Yes.
This has been a blessing. Thank you so
all.
much.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you next week.